Hello, my name is Jo from Audac and I'm going to present the M2 to you. First we can see the front of the M2 with the optional touchscreen, some USB interfaces for updating and the SD card interface for voice file and recording. Here we can see the properties, the features of the M2. It is a multi-output audio distribution system. It is a fully digital system, which means that all the peripherals like wall panels and paging tables are also fully digital. All audio gets digitized in the table and the paging and the wall panels and sent digital to the M2. It is a very flexible system. You can use it for only 8 zones or you can use it for bigger projects with multiple zones like 45 or 64 with the optional fiber link module. And it has a very user-friendly interface by website. Technical features: in basic it's a 9x8 digital audio mixer with a powerful DSP processor and Ethernet control with web-based user interface to control the M2. Here we can see the block diagram. We can see the main DSP and FPGA board. You can see the input and output boards with extra DSPs. First we have the inputs, balanced inputs with ALC, automatic level control, noise gate. We have input filters, 5-band EQ, and then we go to the main DSP for mixing and paging. We have the line input. It's a stereo kinch line input with 4 stereo inputs. We have a selector, only one of the 4 can be selected. ALC, automatic level control, noise gate, DSP with filter, EQ, and to the main DSP. We have 2 priority inputs. They are galvanically isolated by the transformer. ALC, noise gate, and a DSP with filters and EQ. We have 2 priority contacts and 8 extra multi-purpose contacts. At the bottom we have the fiber link input. These are 8 extra inputs to exchange 8 stereo channels with other R2s or M2s. At the output we have 2-band EQ, volume control, delay up to 2 seconds, and we go to an extra filter and an extra 5-band EQ on top of the 2-band EQ. Then we have the balanced outputs or the optional power kit for low impedance speakers. On the bottom we have the link output to transfer 8 channels of this M2 to other R2s or M2s. Over here we have the peripheral inputs. There are 8 with data and audio, in and out, digital, and we have 2 with only data. We have the standard TCP IP interface and RS-232 interface. Standard features overview. We have the web-based user interface, real-time clock for events, the ALC for automatic level control, phantom supply, 5-band EQ, filters, mono stereo on inputs and outputs, priority, talk over, output linking, scenes, output scenes and global scenes, quick menu, delay on each output, and a maximum volume setting for each output. If we look in detail to the website user interface, it's fully functional to the website. You don't need additional software. You just plug in your laptop with a cross cable to the M2 or with a router with a straight cable. It has a very user-friendly interface. Setting up is real easy. And we have free iPhone and iPad applications in the Apple App Store. The real-time clock is used for events. It holds time and date even if the power breaks down. You can synchronize it with a internet time server. And like I said, we use it for events and you can schedule up to 256 events. You can change signal routing, adjust volume, mute or unmute, and adjust the paging volume. The ALC is used to obtain a constant input signal at all your inputs. It's fully adjustable. You can enable a noise gate, and we have 2 presets, one for line and one for mic. The filters can be used on inputs and outputs. Frequency is selectable. You can use or choose high pass, low pass or band pass filter, and there is no limit at the number of filters. You can put one at each input or at each output. 5-band EQ on all inputs, outputs, also no limit. We have the option to put the input in mono mode, because microphones are most of the time mono. Then the left signal is copied to the right signal, and the right signal is not used. So if you use microphones, always connect to the left input. The outputs can also be switched to mono. Left and right will be mixed to one mono signal and will be sent to left and right output on the back of the M2. Priority inputs. We have 4 priorities, 10 contact inputs to trigger priority, with selectable volume on each output. All inputs have signal detection, so you don't have to use the contact inputs, you can use straight inputs with signal detection. And we can send the priorities over fiber to other R2s or M2s. Talk over. Talk over can be enabled on all outputs. All inputs can be used as source, also the inputs from wall panels, local inputs. You can adjust the matrix volume and the talker over volume through the website. So first we have the matrix with some settings. I mixed input 1 and input 2 to output 3. Normally it will go from the matrix to the master volume and so to output 3. If talk over is enabled and I have some signal on the talk over source, I can lower the matrix volume automatically and I can adjust the talk over source volume. These will be mixed and be sent to the master volume and to the output. This means if I start speaking in the microphone, my music will be lowered by this setting and I can hear myself speaking through the microphone. If I quit speaking, this will fade back in to the normal level. Okay. Output linking. You can link multiple outputs to one output. You can select if the volume must be linked, or the routing, or then both. Also you can set an offset for the volume to the master output. You can select to be always linked, linked by contact, and all wall panels will be updated. I have a small example I will show you. Let's say we have 2 offices with output 1, output 2. They both have a wall panel to control these zones. And we have a sliding wall. Now it's closed and we have 2 separate zones or outputs. We can open the wall, the contact is closed, the M2 automatically knows this is one giant zone right now, and output 2 will follow output 1, so we can create one zone. Also the wall panels will be updated, so they will follow output 1. And this can control the major zone and this can control the major zone. Scenes. We created scenes to make mixing more easy. You have output zones. Output zones affect only one output. We can select some mixing of some sources. It does not affect the volume of the output zone. And you have 8 scenes for each output. I have some examples. Scene 1 is mixing of input 1 and input 3. And scene 2 is a mixing from input 3 and input 4. You can create up to 8 scenes for each output. Then we have global scenes. The main difference is it affects multiple outputs and it also affects multiple volumes. And you have up to 8 scenes for the complete system. I can create a scene, a global scene, output 4 to output 1, input 1 and 2 mixed to output 2, and input 2 and 3 mixed to output 3. You can also see in the bottom that also volume is affected. If I trigger a global scene, I can completely reconfigure my whole device. The quick menu. The quick menu is used for quick selections of scenes or inputs. You can put 8 selections behind each menu for each output. You can select an output scene or a global scene. A small example. 8 selections. Selection 1 is input 1. Selection 2 is input 3, only one selection. Then we have behind number 3 fiber 1, behind number 4 my local wall panel input, behind number 5 scene 1, behind number 6 also scene 1, let's say scene 2, behind number 7 global scene 5. Small wall panel DV3018 will follow these selections of the quick menu. So if I press up number 1, I will hear input 1. If I go up number 2, I will hear input 3. If I go to number 5, I load a complete scene with mixing and so on. Okay, now we have the relay output. Each output, we can see it over here, has a relay output, normal open and normal closed contact. It is triggered by priority and paging. If I page in this zone, this relay will be triggered, and it can override or overrule 100 volt volume controls, and it can trigger speaker lamps like the CSE55 and CSW55. Future features, we will implement anti-feedback, auto mixing, voice file and recording in the future inside the M2. Optional features. First we have the optional touchscreen, you can see it over here. We have the Op2 fiber link kit, you can see it over here, to link multiple M2s and R2s, we can mix them. And we have the optional power amplifier kit. And you can use these outputs for low impedance speakers. In detail, the touchscreen is a 800 by 487 inch touchscreen. All control functions are available on the touchscreen to control zones, quick menu, set inputs, set outputs. And the most important setup functions are also available. Paging setup and other stuff that is quite difficult are not available in the touchscreen. You have to do that by website. The Op2 fiber link kit can be used to expand the number of zones, can cover large distances, 600 up to 1200 meters, and it can exchange 8 stereo channels. You can control all zones of all your devices by one user interface. You only need one network connection for the complete project. A small example, R2, M2, R2. You can see it's a closed link. I go from output from R2 number 1 to this input. This output goes to this input and this output back to the first one. So it's a closed link. Small example. I have a factory with some offices over here and on another distance a production hall. 2 M2s or 2 R2s or mixed. One paging table over here. This paging table can page in all the offices and also in the production hall in each zone that you configure. The Power2 amplifier kit. If you need low power, 60 watts is available. It's a Class D amplifier, high sound quality, very low distortion. Channel bridging is done in user interface, up to 120 watts at 8 ohm, and it's 100 volt transformer compatible. So if you bridge it, you can put a 120 watt transformer behind each output. Rear panel overview I will follow it by here. First we have the inputs over here. These are balanced inputs on Phoenix connectors. Then the first thing you notice, there is no gain control. Gain is fully done electronically, manually electronically, or automatically electronically. You can see them here in detail. Then we have the balanced outputs on Phoenix, line level. Then we have the relay outputs for each output, normal open and normal closed, and the optional outputs for the Power2 amplifier kit. Then we have the input number 9, stereo on Kinch, 4 of them, but it's actually only one input. You have to select which of the 4 you want to use. If you take a closer look, okay, I told this already. And the priority inputs, priority input 1, mono balanced, galvanic isolation. Number 2 the same. 2 priority contact inputs. These are multi-purpose, and 8 extra contact inputs also multi-purpose. Okay, I've told this already. Digital control ports over here. These can be used to connect wall panels or paging tables. The first 8 have data and audio, digital in and out, and the bottom 2 have only data. These can be used to connect the small wall panels. Then we have the Ethernet interface and the RS-232 interface. Over here we can see the fiber link in and out. These are multi-mode connectors with ST connection. Expansion modules. We have the small wall panel DV3018, the bigger one DV5065, APM tables and RU tables, relay boxes. Small wall panel can control routing by scenes or by quick menu, like I said before, and we can adjust the volume of a predefined zone. Then the bigger wall panel DV5065 can control also routing and volume. We have a local line and microphone input. They are mixed together locally, and the audio is digitized inside the wall panel and sent digital to the M2. It's an extra input so you don't lose one of your main inputs. And the cabling is all done by Cat6 cabling. The paging table. It can contain multiple chimes. You can program up to 3 layers in the APM 116. It can hold internal messages for evacuation. It also digitizes audio locally in the table and send it digital to the M2. Paging can be done over fiber to other R2s and M2s, and also all cabling is done by Cat6 cabling. Relay groups. You can also attach relay groups to the paging system completely to the M2. You can use it to overrule 100-volt volume controls, the same as these relay outputs, or to trigger speaker lamps. It can be used to toggle lights on off, to open curtains in a meeting room, also to use to open doors or to trigger an external voice file. Here we have an example of a speaker with built-in lamps and the ARU unit. An M2 connection example. We have on the top the inputs with a CD player or a microphone. Then we have an amplifier on the outputs, a D5. If we have the optional power kit, we can connect the speaker straight to the M2. Here we have a bass cabinet which is linked to this output with a filter. So these will follow each other by volume and by input, but we have set a filter on this one. We have a speaker with emergency lights on the relay output, and the relay output can also overrule the VC3036 100-volt volume controller. We have an emergency paging table on the priority inputs. We have a sliding wall on the contact input, wall panels over here. You can see you can only connect one DV5065 wall panel to each output. If you want to connect multiple, you must connect it to different outputs. You can cascade small wall panels with only data to this wall panel. You can also cascade multiple paging tables to one input because they use priority. And you can connect multiple small outputs to the bottom two with only data. We have a computer to control the complete system, to switch to the M2. And we also have a home automation system like AMX or Crestron to control the R2 or M2. We have a second R2 or M2 connected by fiber. Now a residential example of the M2. I say residential, so I take a power kit because residential projects are most of the time low impedance. I connect some sources, speakers in each room we have, living room, bedroom, kitchen. I add some wall panels, some with local inputs like living room, and so on without, like the kitchen. Then I attach a Wi-Fi hotspot to control the M2 by iPhone, iPad or laptop. I can also implement an M2 disc, like you see over here, to control the M2 on the front. You can add a doorbell straight to the contact inputs. Because the M2 has a voice file, the doorbell can trigger a voice file in pre-selected zones at the predefined output. Then I add a second or two to expand the number of outputs or M2 with power kit and to opt to optional fire kits. Then some industrial examples. First we have a main building with offices, an R2 with only a matrix, no mixing, multiple inputs, paging table, a laptop for configuration, 100-volt amplifiers, speakers and wall panels, all with local inputs, because this is all offices. Then I add a meeting room. We use an M2 because in the meeting room we have multiple microphones. We want to do some mixing. We have an extra source, a music computer, a paging table. We created two outputs in the meeting room with a sliding wall between it, two wall panels. Then this table can page also in the offices. Then we add an ARU unit to this paging table to control the lights, the curtains and a beamer inside this meeting room. So a complete automated meeting room with the M2, APM and ARU. Then we add a warehouse on the bottom with multiple paging tables in cascade. Low impedance amplifier with transformer units behind it and 100-volt at the back, and small wall panels to control the warehouse. Now all these tables can be configured to only page over here, and these tables can be configured to page everywhere in the factory. So that's about it. If you want some more information, you can contact Audac by info@audac.be.